Welcome to the Mindset Architect podcast, where it's all about creating the life you want, the business you want, and making a real difference. Join us in unlocking the code to true success. And now your host, Tony Caliendo, Master Coach with Rethink Coaching.
Welcome to the Mindset Architect podcast, episode number 84. I'm Tony Caliendo, Master Coach here at Rethink Coaching. And as always, I want to just take a minute and thank you for sharing your time with me. Time truly is our most valuable asset. And the fact that you're willing to share your time with me truly does mean a great deal. So welcome to episode 84. I want to talk today about something that many of us may be experiencing. I know I have myself multiple times, and I want to share with you some thoughts around resistance. I know we've talked a little bit about this in the past, yet today I really want to lean into why and what happens when we resist. One of my favorite quotes is by Stephen Pressfield. And he says, "The more important an activity is to your soul's evolution, the more you will resist it." I want you to sit with that for a second. I'm going to read it to you again. The more important an activity is to your soul's evolution, the more you will resist it. And so let that simmer for a minute and just think about that the important things in our life, the important things to our evolution, the important things to our growth may be the very thing that you find yourself resisting the most. And I know for myself, I've done it numerous times and will still find myself in a space of resistance. Yet now I know that at times that resistance can be a huge signal to me that what I'm resisting is really important and to spend some time with it. I want to talk about a couple things around this. I want to unpack this idea together with you and explore why resistance appears and how we can overcome it by just doing a few simple things. So first, let's define what we mean by resistance. Stephen Pressfield describes resistance, which is what I love, as an internal force that makes us hesitate, procrastinate, and avoid an activity or activities that are vital for our growth. You might feel it as self-doubt, fear, or even distractions that pull you away from what truly matters. And I think that's really important when we are going to be talking about resistance, that we're on the same page about what it truly means. And it is really an internal force. I think a lot of times we view resistance coming from the outside, pushing us back. In this instance, I want you to think about resistance as an internal thing, an internal force that is causing you to hesitate, procrastinate, or avoid. Really important. It's funny when I think about this in my own life. I think about the numerous times, both in my corporate career and in my career in the real estate industry and in coaching, how every time I was up for a promotion or I was in alignment for another job or another project as a coach or another opportunity as a coach, that resistance would show up. And my resistance shows up as procrastination. It's like I want to just push it away for a while until I'm really comfortable with it, push it away until I can process all of the fear that comes with it. I want to push it away. And when I'm doing that, again, it's a signal to me that I'm resisting something that's really important. For me, there's a project I took on lately with another company that has required me to show up in a very different way, both physically and content specific. And in the beginning, when we started talking about this, I was resisting it. And I realized I was resisting it. And here's what's funny about it. One of my objectives and goals for 2025 was to do more public speaking. And that's really what this was. It was speaking to groups of people. One of my goals for 2025 was to increase group coaching programs that Rethink has to offer. This is a group coaching program. So when I felt myself resisting it and realized that it was really part of two of my major goals for 2025, I knew the resistance was significant to the evolution of my soul, to the evolution of me, to the evolution of my business, to the evolution of my dreams, my vision, all of that. So I sat with it for a while and realized that it really wasn't because of fear. I know the content extremely well. It was more resistance for time. I felt like I was going backwards and giving up some freedom and flexibility because this requires me to fly to a different city. It requires me to be present for really a day and a half. It requires a lot of my time. And so I was resisting it just based upon my unconscious brain telling me I didn't have time. And it wasn't until I unpacked it for myself that I thought, what is it that I am resisting? Is it self-doubt? No. Was it fear? No. Was it a distraction? Maybe. Maybe I felt like this was going to be a distraction away from some of the other business ventures that I have going on right now. And I really did sit with it and realize that it simply was a time management issue. And once I wrapped my brain around how I would manage that, how I would process that, suddenly the resistance was gone and I'm having an amazing time. And I'm working with some amazing agents and we're growing together, which is exactly what I wanted to do. So resistance will show up in times that it's truly important. And you just have to sift through the layers to get to what it is that's causing you the resistance. So spend some time and think about what you might be resisting right now and evaluate why. Is it doubt, self-doubt, fear, distractions? What is it? Why are you hesitating, procrastinating, and avoiding taking an activity or an action that is vital to your growth? The second thing that's important for us to think about is that there are some soul-centric activities that we might be resisting. And those are the endeavors that really resonate deeply within our values and our aspirations. Maybe it's your creative pursuits, maybe it's personal development, or even nurturing friendships, relationships with families and friends and spouse. It can be a variety of things, but what is most important to realize is that these are the endeavors that resonate deeply with your values and aspirations. And when you engage in those activities, often tied to our sense of identity and fulfillment, that's really important. Those soul-centric activities are really connected to and tied to our identity and our fulfillment. When you're on the path of doing something that matters, whether it's a new job, whether it's hiring your replacement, whether it is growing your team, whether it is moving up in the financial income bracket for yourself, your family, and your team, whatever it is on that self-discovery journey, that's when you might experience some resistance, which I find to be very humorous. I have to look at it that way, that we would resist the one thing that is a soul-centric activity that is deeply connected to our values and aspirations. Why in the world do we do that? And so take some time to think about that, because the greater the resistance, I can promise you, the more connected it is to what's important to you and to the soul-centric activities, and the ones that really resonate with your values and your aspirations. So again, for myself, going back to the example that I gave, one of my core values is to give back to entrepreneurs, real estate agents, team leaders, so that they can have the life and the business that they desire to have. I was very fortunate, very blessed with an incredible real estate career. And I think about my struggles, I think about my frustrations when I first started back in 2001. And I want to help someone who had the passion that I have to make this thing, this whatever they're an entrepreneur in, whether it's real estate or another sales or a different business, to allow them to have that passion come to fruition, to have it become their reality. And it made no sense when I was resisting this opportunity for this incredible project, because it was in alignment with everything that I wanted to do. It was my moment of self-discovery as to really uncovering what it was that was stopping me from doing it. So there are some pretty important soul-centric activities that I'm going to invite you to think about. And when you're thinking about the projects or the tasks or the strategies or the activities that you're resisting doing, Spend some time to reflect on that. Think about the activities and goals that feel really important to you that you're delaying, that you're resisting. And you're going to find out that those are the very ones that in that resistance is actually preventing you from growth. It's actually preventing you from fulfilling that internal value, that internal congruency with what you're doing and why you're doing it. I find it that this type of resistance can be, unfortunately, about a big part of the business plan that you created for yourself for this year, because those activities are really important to your evolution, to your movement towards the goal that you set or the goals that you set for yourself, your business, your life, your family, your friends, your legacy for this year. They're really important to your evolution. And you may be resisting a few of those, which may have caused you to fall short of goal in Q1. So pay attention to that. And, there is this, there are times when resistance just shows up in a very fierce and powerful way. And it can happen prior to starting the project, prior to starting your new venture. It can happen when you start it. It can happen in the middle of it. It really can happen at any time. The one thing that is important to know is that when resistance does show up fiercely, that what you're doing is something that truly matters, that what you're aiming for, that goal, that vision, that strategy is really something that matters to you. And so if you're looking at making a positive change in your life, your business, whatever it is, be prepared that resistance can show up in a very fierce way and prevent you from moving forward. I think about how many people have put themselves out there, authors, coaches, leaders who have put themselves out there to do things that give to other people. That's really important as we evolve as humans, that when we are gifted at something, we give it back, and that we do something at a high level. I have to imagine it's not only for me, it's for other people that want to give at a really high level that may feel this resistance. So you may have a goal to help a certain amount of families in 2025 either sell, buy, or invest in real estate. And that goal is really important to you because you know the impact you're making on those people. Let's be honest. What's happening in our real estate environment is different than any other time in our history. And you are, by helping people, you're protecting them. You're allowing them to achieve a dream, to either move into a house or move out of a house that's no longer serving them, or moving on to a different job and they need to transfer. Whatever it is, that is really, really important. And so as that leader in that capacity, if you're resisting taking action to find those people that need your help, it's a sign that what you're doing is really important. It's a sign that that decision to help X amount of people, X amount of families is really what you're aiming for, and that it truly does matter on your journey. So now we kind of know what resistance can look like. And again, I have to look at it when it shows up. I have to smile and make friends with it. I know that may sound crazy. However, I can push it away for a moment, but it's going to come back. I can hold it at bay for a certain amount of time, yet that resistance is something critically important. And so the longer I hold that resistance at bay, the longer I'm actually delaying my ability to move forward and move towards what is so critically important. So a few things to do when you want to overcome resistance. So these are a few practical strategies that can help you push past the resistance. Number one is just awareness. Acknowledge and accept your feelings of resistance with no judgment. That's really important, to not judge. We tend to beat ourselves up a bit when we are resisting doing something or we're failing, right? If you're resisting and not taking action, it could be viewed as failure. So I would just say, know that resistance is a natural part of the process of growth and evolution. So give yourself some grace, no judgment, and just look at the resistance for fact of matter. What exactly is it? What am I resisting? And dig around a little bit about that, just to acknowledge and accept it's there. The second thing is you may have set such a impactful goal, and it's such a stretch from where you are to where you want to be. So if you've never sold 80 homes in a year, let's say you're at 30 and you've set this big goal, you could have made too big of a leap in your mind. You can absolutely go from 20 to 80. Yet we may have made this big leap and we're resisting it for a lot of different reasons, right? So number one would be, I would say, look at what you're resisting and ask yourself, do I need to take some small steps to ultimately get into action? And that's okay if you do. For the clients that we coach, we have them look at a 3-year, a 1-year, and a 90-day. And we do that on purpose because the 90-day is breaking things down into small steps, little sprints that we're running for 90 days. We've taken this bigger goal or this bigger vision, and we've broken it down into small steps, which allows you to grow quarter after quarter after quarter. 90 days is a quarter team. That's why we look at the next 90 days. And so breaking it down into those small steps can be helpful. If it's an activity, so let's say you decided to start journaling this year and you've not done it. You just haven't done it. You've been resisting journaling or resisting meditating or resisting taking action towards an exercise. Just start with 10 or 15 minutes a day focused on that activity. For me, at this stage of my life, I can journal for a very long time. In fact, I can get so engrossed in my journaling, more than 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes will go by. But in the beginning, I struggled just journaling for 5 minutes. And so you may have to break it down into 90-day sprints, smaller actions. You might break it down into smaller chunks of time. I'm just going to journal for 5 minutes a day for the next 10 days. And then I'm going to increase it to 10. And then I'm going to increase it to 20. And then I'm going to let it be whatever it needs to be. But you're taking these small steps. So that's really important in overcoming resistance. If there's a huge canyon in between where you are and where you would like to be, break it down. I promise you, it will feel more consumable. It will feel more achievable. It will feel more practical. And you may be able to release some of that resistance in just doing that one thing. The other thing to do to let go of resistance is accountability. Share your goals. We've talked about this. Share your goals with a friend or a mentor who will help keep you accountable. Not someone that's going to tell you, it's okay, you didn't do it. You can do better next time. No, you want somebody to hold you accountable. Ideally, that would be a coach, because I will share with you, it happens often enough that clients that I am coaching will resist taking an activity. And if you've ever worked with me one-on-one, if I believe in your possibility and I believe strongly that this thing will get you to goal and you were in agreement at some point, I am like a dog with a bone, and I'm going to continue to push you until we work through the resistance to figure out why you're resisting it. And once we do that from an accountability perspective, man, the chains are taken off and you're off and running. You're no longer anchored to resistance. You've let it go. So accountability is incredibly important as you're looking to let go of or overcome resistance. The fourth thing is be mindful and reflect. Take time to reflect on your values and your motivations. Ask yourself why they were important, why they still are important, and reconnect with that purpose to reignite your passion. I'm going to be honest. There are times that I get scared. I get scared that, what I have for my motivation, which is external people, my team, my family, my friends, my legacy, that stuff is external. And sometimes I'm so fearful that I'm going to let, especially my family, down and myself. And so I need to constantly remind myself what my motivation is and why. What are the value? What are the impact? And spending time with that and reconnecting to those is tremendously important for helping you work through resistance. It's really hard to work with someone who is not motivated. You can't want something more for somebody than they want it for themselves, and that includes yourself. So you have to find the motivation. It's just like when we work with clients. If I'm working with a client who has zero motivation, it's really hard for me to pull some levers to get them to see the importance of taking action, the importance of letting go of the resistance. If they're totally fine with where they are financially, totally fine with where their business is, if it grows, great. If it doesn't, it's okay too. That's a lack of motivation. And that is a really difficult one. And I would go to say that that is a form of resistance. You're resisting making a decision. You're resisting committing to doing something different. It's all connected. So really spend some time reconnecting with your purpose. It will ignite your passion, especially when you can connect all of that to motivation, impact, and goals. So resistance is a real deal, team. And I think as you evolve in your careers and your life, you're going to find yourself resisting things more often because you're doing different things more often. And once you master a task or you master a strategy, and it's time for the next stretch, that's when this all can come up for yourself. So pay attention. Resistance to me is a lot like failure. I look at it for a lot of lessons that are buried within it. Resistance holds a ton of lessons if you embrace it, if you acknowledge it, if you just sit with it and honor that it's there and it's there for a reason, and uncover and unpeel until you get to the core or the root of what the reason is you're resisting. Again, Stephen's quote is truly, truly one of my favorite things in the world. The more important an activity is to the evolution of your soul, the more you will resist it. So team, if you are having challenges with this and you find yourself in a place of massive resistance and you need a little extra help, reach out to me directly. Tony at rethinkcoaching.com is my email address. You can send a direct email to me. I'll send you a link to my calendar. You can go on our website, register for a free 1-hour strategy call. Happy to talk to you about this or anything else. I am always happy to help. It's one of my values, is to help someone who has a goal to do something differently or bigger than what they're currently doing. And if I can help in any way, I'm always happy to do that. So do not hesitate to reach out. You can Google me. You can find my cell phone. You can find a million ways to get a hold of me, social media, whatever it is. If you need help, raise your hand, step up, and I will be there to help you out. Go make it a great week. We'll talk to you next week. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you must come check out the Mindset Architect Group Coaching Program. It's our monthly program where we explore the power of your mindset, help you identify what you truly want in business and life, and then help you reach those goals. Come check us out at rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. That's rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. We'll see you there.